Continuing Paul's prayer in the letter to the church at Colossae, Paul describes Christ and the role given to him by the Father in heaven. Good morning, this is Pastor Ernie Lewis of the Blue Point Church in Sisney, Illinois, with your thoughts for Tuesday. You know, this is almost a doxology of praise for the Christ. It's actually setting up his place in the New Testament church as the Father has orchestrated it. He says in Colossians chapter 1 and verse 15, he is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn above all creation. For by him all things were created that are in heaven and that are on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created through him and for him, and he is before all things, and in him all things consist. And he is the head of the body, the church, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he may have the preeminence. You know, first thing he mentions here is the fact that he is the image of the invisible God. He is God incarnate in the flesh. So he tells his disciples, if you have seen me, you have seen the Father. And the firstborn over all creation does not mean that he was the firstborn of creation. He was God's firstborn, his only begotten Son, and he was placed over all creation in the beginning. Paul tells us his role in creating everything in heaven and in earth. He even set in motion thrones and dominions and principalities and powers. He says all things were created through him and for him. Don't miss that, all right? It means that he and the Father were the agents of the creation, but they also made all these things in order to bring them glory. You see, we were made for his honor and for his glory. He is before all things, and in him all things consist, which is a reminder that he made these worlds out of nothing, just spoke them into existence. And when he says he is the head of the body, which is the church, it means he is the beginning. Jesus told his disciples, I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. You know, we see churches have celebrations and they recognize their charter members. Jesus is the only charter member of the New Testament church. And as the head of the body, we should treat him like it really is his church. Finally, it describes him as the firstborn from the dead. You know, he is raised to new life, and we will all follow after he is through with us in this world here, being raised after him. And he reminds the Colossians that he should have the preeminence. In the New Testament church, Christ needs to take first place. That means first place over the pastor, first place over the boards that make those decisions, first place over Aunt Sally, who actually gave the ground to build this building. No, first place over all of us, especially over you and over me. Let's put Christ and his ministry in this world first in our church, and we'll see him guide and we'll see him bless in ways that we could never do by ourselves.